Jazz Chisholm of the Miami Marlins, always getting the folks talking, for better or for worse. Paul Severino, who does a great job as the play-by-play guy for the Marlins on Valley Sports Florida, joins us now. And Sev, thanks for being with us. I want to talk about the reported meeting that the Marlins had, and it seemed to focus on Jazz Chisholm. You don't often hear about a team meeting calling out one player, and even less we hear about the specific player's name. Did this happen, and why was it necessary?
You know, you're giving me far too much credit to believe that I would have any idea what was going on. To the best of my knowledge, they were meeting to tell everyone how great the play-by-play guy was. And that happens 3 or 4 times a week. I don't know all of the details. I think it's probably happens in a lot of clubhouses when teams are not playing to the expectations, as the Marlins were not for the month of May. It was a rough month for this club, for individuals, for the collective, for the whole thing. So, maybe frustrations have boiled over and trying to get everybody on the same page. And it just kind of happens. You know, you look at it and June starts, and then you got June, July, August, September. That's 4 more months to kind of, right the ship here and get everybody pulling in the same direction. Hopefully, meet the expectations for the organization, but also surprise some people who might be on the outside thinking that the Marlins can't do what the organization believes that it can.
And he is such a dynamic player and a fun guy to watch, Jazz Chisholm. And, he hits 2 home runs after that supposed meeting. And then he goes on and hits another couple of home runs in the game on Friday, and goes on MLB Tonight and says that he has that 6th tool, meaning the I don't care tool. I think in life that's a pretty good tool to have, the way that there's so much noise around you. How would you describe his style?
Slightly better than mine, for sure. He's got better hair, we know that. But I think he plays the game. Thank you, Alanna. He plays the game with the great energy. The times that he's scored from second base on a sac fly or a ground out to the left side when the ball's in front of him, and he just reads it really well. He's certainly maturing on the field, right? Last year there were some struggles there, and he hasn't really had those same defensive struggles, right? He talked about it in the spring, was making sure that he's focused on every game and every pitch and every at bat. And we're seeing a lot more of that now. And just in terms of raw tools and the dynamics of, we have all the numbers with the StatCast now, with the exit velocity and the sprint speed. He's elite in both categories, right? So it's just a matter of harnessing that and finding a consistency so that he can, do what I think he wants to do. He's been open and honest about that he wants to play in the All-Star game. I think he's going to do very well in the fan vote. He's a popular guy. He's, signing autographs before and after games, most nights, if not all nights. He's a very personable individual. And in terms of inside the lines, it's about finding that consistency. And this year there's been a little bit more of that.
Yeah, let the kids play. Okay, 27-31, 4th in the NL East. A couple of matchups in the division coming up. You are in Philadelphia right now, I believe. 3 at the Phillies and then 4 at the Mets. How do you see this Marlins club stacking up, and why is these next couple of series so important?
Yeah, this whole road trip is really important for them. It's a 3-city trip. We just left Houston, so it's 3 cities, 10 games, 11 days. When the team was coming off a 3-game sweep of the Nationals last week. So, how do you keep that momentum going? Well, they took 2 out of 3 in Houston. That's a tough place to play, and that's a tough team to face. And they took 2 out of 3. So it's just about, I said on the air the other night, it's not necessarily about looking at this entire road trip and say, hey, we've got to go 8-2. It's about looking at each game of this road trip and saying, we've got to win today. Because win, lose, or draw, there's still going to be, as I said before, 3.5 months left of the season. But what you don't want to do is dig yourself too much of a hole that you've got to play 900 ball just to get back into it. So if they can, inch a little bit closer to 500, they're, what'd you say, 4 under right now. So, hopefully by the end of this road trip, they're closer. But these are going to be good tests. Every time, the Braves have won this division, 4 years in a row, right? So every time we go into Atlanta or Atlanta comes to Miami, everybody always asks Don Mattingly, hey, how do you measure up against the Braves? And he always says there's a class of the division. Well, right now, the class of the division is the Mets. That's a series that's coming up. And Marlins have to play up against a really hot Phillies team. So it's just time to kind of measure yourselves against everybody else. And I think that they're up to the task. And no better guy than the guy that's on the bump tonight to set the tone in Philly.
Yeah, what a segue. I was just going to ask you about your ace. Tell me what makes him so special, because the Marlins, knock on wood, don't want to jinx him. They just don't seem to lose when he takes the ball.
No, he's been great, and it's he's grown into an elite pitcher, not just the ace of this staff, but for my money, I know I see him every 5 days, and I guess I got a horse in the race in that regard, but he's, for me, the best pitcher right now in the National League. And, I was joking with somebody the other day that he should start the All-Star game, if for no other reason than because Brian Snitker is going to be the manager. It'll be his choice, and he's probably sick and tired of seeing Sandy pitch so well against him. So he wants him to pitch for him for a night. So, that's kind of my hope. But, he's really evolved into, on the field, he's evolved into a guy who's got an immense amount of confidence. He's got the confidence because he's got the stuff, and he's got the stuff because he's worked on his routine over the past couple of years with Mel Stottlemyre Jr., who, again, for my money, is the best pitching coach in baseball. He's really helped Sandy and Pablo Lopez and many others kind of reach a whole other level than maybe some might have thought that they would have gotten to. Oh, those guys will be pretty good someday. Well, right now, Mel has turned those guys into two great pitchers right now, and I don't have a vote because we can't vote for pitchers, and I don't think I could sway Brian Snitker, but I'll try. Those two guys, Pablo and Sandy, should be representing the Marlins in the All-Star game on the pitching side of things. And again, if I had a vote, I'd vote for Sandy to start it.
No question. He's been tremendous, and certainly on the tops of minds when you're talking about the NL Cy Young conversation. Avisail Garcia, has he starting to change his season around? He looks pretty good offensively as of late.
Few days, but he was starting to get some hits. And listen, I mean, he'll be the first to tell you that he's okay with the hits, but he wants a little bit more power, and hopefully that comes. But listen, he's had a place down in Miami for a little while, so of course not born in Miami, but home in a sense. So you sign a big contract, you're coming home, there's pressure there. You're a guy for this team that last few years hasn't really gone crazy on the free agent market. So there's pressure there for sure. But I think that eventually, once things get going, they are going to pick up and continue at a fever pitch for that guy. He's just been too good throughout his career to do this. But, he's hitting over 300 in the month of June. It's just a matter of tapping into a little bit more of that power. And he's been working hard with Marcus Timms and Edward Gonzalez, our hitting coaches here. So, it's going to come. And when it comes, that's when the lineup gets a little more scary, a little deeper, a little bit more dynamic as well. And again, when that happens with the pitching that the Marlins have, that's when you're hopefully going to see this team go on a, win 12 of 15 kind of run. And that's where they start to make some noise. And like I said before, meet those expectations that they have.
Yeah, no better time than the present. A big series coming up with the Phillies tonight at Citizens Bank Park. Paul Severino on the call for the Marlins. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.